Okay, let's get started. I have all my files open. I have project.html open, which has nothing in it. We're going to change that. Project.js open, project.css open. That's where we're going to be working. So I also have my blueprint.html, blueprint.js, blueprint.css. I also have this blueprint underscore functions.js. I'm going to close that for now. Okay, I'm also going to close this text code for now because we have to build the thing before we test it. Okay, so in the project.html, which is this page right here, we're going to add a table. Now you can type this out, but I'm going to copy this table with its comment, and I'm going to put it right in the body tag, and by itself it's not going to do anything. But now let's go to the blueprint.js, and I'm going to copy. Now we already have this array of colors in our project, so I'm going to copy from var I all the way down to get the ID of color picker and set its HTML to color picker, and copy all that and go in right underneath the array. I'm going to paste it. Now I'm going to save everything and go back to our project and refresh. So now we have this little color picker up here. Before we look at the inspect element, let's do some logging. Now all these variables, length equals colors.length. Now that's the length of this whole array. And then we var color picker, that's going to be undefined. We're going to log out though length. Okay, I'm going to log out also color picker. So what are these two logs going to be? Let's refresh this and right click inspect element. In our log we have 224 and undefined. So what we know is that the colors.length, which is now a variable of length, equals 224. So we're going to expect 224 table cells in the end. But right now, color picker is undefined. So I'm going to take all that out, and let's go to line 19. That's just a typical for loop for I equals 0, semicolon, I is less than length, semicolon, I plus plus. So then inside these curly braces from here to all the way down to the end, we have other if statements. So let's look at line 21. If I mod 16 equals 0, I mod 16, modular division, is when you divide one number by another number, the answer in modular division is its remainder. This can be used in logic because we can determine whether one number is evenly divisible by another number, and then we can do something. And if something else is true, such as we have down here in line 27, if I plus 1 mod 16 equals 0, then we're going to do something else. It would be easier to explain this. I'm going to change this 16 to 4 and this 16 to 4. So we're going to look at when the index I is evenly divisible by 4. Let me save that. And now up here we have this little color picker table with 16 columns. Now it only has 4 columns. Let's inspect that in the elements. Okay, we have our table ID color picker, and now we have all these rows, but we only have 4 table cells. When we had 16, save it, again refresh. Each one of our table rows has 16 TD tags, or table cells. So I'm going to go back to 4 for now. So at this point, this is where we're going to pick up in the next video. But for right now, I want to do some more experiments with the console.log because there's a lot that you can learn if you console.log. So I've typed out some console.log statements, and so like on line 19, you see the comment right here, but I'm also console.logging the index as a string that I'm going to add to it the index. So let's take a look at that right now. In the console, refresh everything. We're at the index is 0, right? So that's how these work. So let's look at all these statements, and the next line down there, line 23, I'm going to console.log the content of the array. Then I'm going to add to that and a pound sign, and then I'm going to do that colors brackets I. So let's take a look at that. So the content of the array, so what I'm doing for each one of our indices, I'm going to get the pound sign and the hexadecimal number. That's what makes the color. So here's the more important stuff. When we get into this index divided by 4, I want to contrast the difference between regular division and modulo division, which we see on line 28. This is what I got off the line, the definition. In computing, the modulo operation finds the remainder after division of one number by another number, sometimes called modulus. So we're going to take on line 31, we're going to console.log the index I modulo of 4. And we're going to concatenate to that the value that we would get by dividing the index for each one of our indices by modulo division by 4. And then on the next line, console.log the index I plus 1 modulo by 4. And then we're going to do the operation I plus 1 in parentheses modulo division 4. And I want to examine the values of these because these are going to be used in our logic down here. So let's go and look at the console. So when I equals 0, then content of the array is going to be black right here. The index divided by 4 is going to be 0 because 0 divided by 4 equals 0. The index I modulo of 4 is going to be 0 because the remainder is 0. This is going to be our first row. So let's see what we have here. If I mod 4 equals 0, then we want to begin a row with a beginning tr tag. Okay, so let's go back and, okay, when index I plus 1 modulo division by 4 is 1, so we're not going to get, well, we're going to get the first one right here because this one becomes true, so we don't even go any further. But when we get to 1, when index I equals 1, the content is this other color, which is a kind of more of a blue, dark blue. Then the index divided by 4, it equals 0.25, but obviously there's a remainder there, so the index mod of 4 equals 1. And I plus 1 mod 4 equals 2. So neither one of these statements are true. This one's false, else if I plus 1 mod 4 equals 0, that becomes false. So we go to this one. So we get a table cell TD tag and a closing TD tag, but no TR tag. So let's go back to when index equals 2, that's the same thing. We're going to get a different color, a different shade of blue. We're not going to get the index divided by 4 equals 0.5. That's a remainder. So I modulo 4 does not equal 0. I plus 1 modulo 4 does not equal 0. So again, we're going to get this. These two conditions fail. We're going to get the third one. But when I equals 3 right here, we're going to get another color of blue, kind of lighter blue. the index divided by 4, we have a remainder. So the index modulo 4 does not equal 0 because we have 3 plus 1 modulo 4 does equal 0. So what we're going to get is the third row, the second condition. If I plus 1 mod 4 equals 0, then we're going to end the row because we only want 4 columns in a row. So we got the ending tr tag. So we're going to repeat this over and over again, and we're going to get a 4-column table. Now, because of the sizing of this, they're not sized right, but we still got 4 columns. So I think they're sized to have a 16 column to where they're square. So let's change that 4 to 16. And down here, because we have to consider all options, let's save that. See, now we have our 16 column table. So when we look at the elements, we see we have a table row right here, and inside that we have a table row for each of our rows, right? We have a 16 cells within each row, okay? Because we changed this to 16. We change it back to 4. I'm just going to hit Control Z twice. Save it. And go back and refresh. Now we have the 4. And if we look at the elements, we have all these table rows, but in each one of these rows, we only have 4 table cells. So anyway, this code right here is, I know it kind of seems to be unusual, but I'm just going to leave all this in here, but commented out everything. Okay, so in the next video, we're going to pick up where we left off before I added this addition on to it. So anyway, I hope you learned something. I hope this is helpful to you, and I hope to see you in the next video.